And we are back in action here. Keith Fustel with me on today at the races. And Keith, the big question is, have you recovered from the Maryland Million weekend?
Yeah, everything went pretty smooth, especially on our end. Looked like you guys did a great job, and everything went pretty smooth.
It did,
from
yeah.
that broadcast standpoint. The whole team, kudos to you guys and keeping everybody apprised of the situation was great. Again, the crowds were good. The weather's been great. Our handle Sunday was up. We appreciate everybody jumping in on this Laurel bandwagon. Now, I tell you, our fields, again, racing office done a phenomenal job.
Yes.
All the trainers,
Yes.
Cooperating entries, they are here, and they're all over the map. I mean, my picks are all over the map, but it's all in all, it's been good. We're rested and ready to go.
I was surprised that, when you sent me in your picks, I was surprised that we landed on similar spots in some areas. So, as per usual, talking to Brian, he's just like, I can't figure, good luck. I can't figure this out. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got going on at track side there. Track is fast, and the turf is nice and firm. Just a little crisp this morning, but it's sunny. We're going to have a bit of a warmer weekend that we have coming up towards us, Keith.
And that time of year, we're in the 40s in the morning, and then it steadily gets its way up, and I think we're reaching mid-70s in a few days. So really looking forward to that weather. Definitely the warm-up. Interesting how it can maybe affect the turf course a little bit sometimes from the chillier mornings and as things kind of get warm up. That could have a slight effect on the turf, but the turf looks great. Again, the whole crew, both the turf course and the main track, the guys have done a phenomenal job, and that is not an easy ask to all the hours that are put in maintaining the surfaces.
And knock on wood, we're getting a little bit lucky that I don't see any rain coming for a while. So that's going to kind of dictate a little bit of our turf season thus far. But Keith, let's go ahead and get right to it. Let's start on the turf in this early pick 5 in this claiming 20,000 for the 3-year-olds and up, which have never won 2 for the girls. And we're going to have scratches in the 1, 5, and 10, as you can see on that board. Keith, you and I both go with the number 6, Rise Smile. This is in the barn of Brittany Russell, Sheldon Russell. Let's take a look at that effort 2 back on the turf last time out.
Well, in our picks, you see 2 of the trainers of recent note that have just been rolling right along. Trombetta, especially on the turf, 10 for 27 the last couple months on the turf here, Laurel. But Rise Smile just gets in a little bit of a jackpot through the stretch, comes up, just can't really find room down inside in that red cap. I think short comment was stymied 8th pole to 16th pole with run. In between, in those familiar Larry Johnson silks, and the black and white was that 8-horse that day with Caramanos. Ask not what you can do. Also, didn't have the smoothest of run in between horses. Did kind of take the rating early. The blinkers go on. This has been a positive angle for Trombetta in the past with these turf runners. Neither one has a slew of early speed. I think Ask Not What You Can Do might be a little bit more tactical than Rise Smile, but I believe there's enough flow. Some flow comes out, serious flow comes out with the 10, Camilla T, that these two can lay close enough, and we've seen the ability to make up ground through that final 3/16 on this turf course. And I think both of these two make an impact from off the pace. You toss in Nikki Jolene's been steady, kind of at chasing type, but I think with the absence of the 10 could be really forward in here.
That's where, where I kind of say, oh, hey, I'm going to go ahead and grab with that one. But going back to the 7 with the blinkers on, that's just going to propel that horse a little bit more forward. Talk about the 9, though. And Sweet Summer Love, Cesar Nembo, J-Ron Barbosa, just kind of doing one of these knocks on the doors all summer long.
Yeah, this horse, she's been close. A couple of her races I thought was really good. Her race going back to June. I think I liked her in a race here prior. And I think the race, she was scratched that day. She was in a race. I had her on top. And she scratched. Yeah, she's come back. And anyhow.
Off turf. That was an off turf in August.
Could have been. Okay. But I liked her going back. She's good. Now, looking at her recent races, she's been forward. I think she can take the rating. Maybe Barbosa can kind of do what he did on Brilliant Ice, a little wide early, but then drop in, find kind of that seam from the upper stretch home. I think she's got some ability, keys up against some of the right horses that I've looked at this level on the turf sprint. So, yes, I will toss her in at a 12-1 morning line. Might come down a touch because we've got a couple scratches in here.
There we go. 6, 7, 9, 3 for Keith Fusel there in race number 1. Let's go ahead to race number 2. Starts the early pick 4 in this claiming 12-5, which is number 1, 2, going 3/4 of a mile on the dirt. Keith, you have the rail horse on the inside, foolproof.
Yeah.
Ricky Silliman, J-Ron Barbosa comes over sticks around second off of the layoff, that's where I can kind of see the appeal here.
A lot of these horses have had a lot of chances. Little Skippy, 1 for 21. Okay. Swain's in my DNA, 1 for 20. Somebody's got to win and get through this 2-in-life condition. Foolproof has had 8 tries. Second off the bench has been an okay angle for Ricky Silliman. Got caught into a pretty quick pace last time, 22-2, vying inside of 3 or 4 other horses. And the horses ended up towards the top of that day were like 5 and 6 wide into the turn. A slight fade, a little protect move. I like the fact that Barbosa comes back. Could be the speed of the speed. If it's a race to who can kind of clear into the turn, they may just keep going. Take a shot here at this kind of number with Foolproof. This is a spread race for me. Little Skippy on the drop certainly works well. Yep. You go back to that 4-back try close to Buck and Dreamer, who upset Kieran's horse the other day. Point Doom with a really good run. Got an 81 buyer for that. These two, I think, are the prevalent speeds in here. Brother does some chasing. But, yeah, I don't know. Grant Whitaker, I think, will suit this 4-horse perfectly the way he rides. Will this horse be able to kind of match up the numbers? Hasn't shown the kind of numbers in the past at Laurel, but seems to be on the improve. Saray bringing some more runners back here. Look for Grant. His style, he's very good at taking a horse to rate just a little bit off the pace, save some ground, and make a move from the quarter pole home. It's a tough race for me. I got to take a stab at a price here with Ricky from the rail.
There we go, and that's a Keith Fusel style of race kind of right there. 1, 3, 4, 5 there in race number 2. Race number 3, we're back on the turf here in this maiden special weight, going 1 mile and 16th for the 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. Keith, you go with the number 2. I flip-flop that, but Windjam here on your top selection, John Service, Frankie Pennington. I can definitely see the appeal from this on first-time turf alone here for the barn.
Street sense, they can run on anything. Bottom side, and it's this really stout turf breeding on this bottom side of this family. The mother, she's a grade 2 winner on the turf, topped at a 93. You go back to the second dam, multiple grade winner turf. And these horses handled routes of ground. I like this. Got the one race under its belt, a little tighter, stamina build up at 1 mile and 70. Not sure if this one quite wants to go to the front with a horse like Karma's in the house in here, but I do think when it's all said and done, he'll be fairly forward with Pennington. I like that he's down here for the ride first. Lasix, a good angle, good percentage for this barn. Yeah, just, again, looking at a good number in what I think is a really wide-open race. I know it's only a field of 7. But connections, solid connections. I'll take a shot. This turf breeding is very good for Wincham.
Of course, I definitely see it there. Spin it underneath Cal Lynch, blinkers on. That's kind of the big draw here that drew me to this one for the top fit.
Third off of a touch of a break. That 2-back try, the most recent turf try, Colonial, pretty good. A couple of those horses came back to run fast. Second and third place finishers came back like in high 70s type. The third place finisher came back to one. I think one of them won at Kentucky Downs. So we know what that company's like. You have to kind of take to that course. But good effort for some of these horses out of that Spin It race on August the 13th. And I think was hampered a little bit by the flow. A little bit dawdling up front. Tried to turn on, just couldn't make a huge impact, but works against this field.
Okay, the 3 and the 1 Sandpipes, Lindsay Schultz underneath. We Live This Game, Marigata Jr. Lindsay Schultz coming off of a 201-day layoff with this one.
Yes, I think this horse will be ready. Robin and I were just talking about this one. He likes this one a lot, so Dave's gonna bring the thunder on Saturday and Sunday. I'm not gonna be right, but by summer front, Mizzen Mass bottom side. Half to a 6-time turf winner. The Lindsay Schultz horses have been getting play here. They've been making impacts. They haven't maybe won a lot, but they're making impressions throughout their races. Sandpipes, off of some of these Turfway Park races that we know are deep fields, competitive fields, and talent just kind of moves out of these races. Yes, I'm going to use Sandpipes. I think can get fairly forward a stalking trip and to follow through late.
And there we go. 2, 4, 3, 1 for Keith Fusel there in race number 3. Race number 4 starts that Rainbow Pick 6. We have a carryover of 5,500 going into this in the sequence thus far. Of course, we take a stab at my ticket. I had a $32 ticket at first, but now I whittle it down to $21.60, which for me on this card, I'm going to just take that as a win in itself. So a single in on a Brittany Russell in race number 8. I could have gone wider in race number 6. If you're going to add anything, either add the 11 or the 5 there for me personally. I've also could have added a couple more in race number 7. In race number 4, this is let's just dive right into this effort in this field in race number 4 here, because to me it's a little bit of a doozy. We'll dive into my ticket a little bit more in the afternoon, but in this maiden claiming 30,000, 3/4 of a mile on the dirt for the 2-year-olds. Scratches, big scratches for me, Keith, but scratches in the 2 and the 3.
Yeah.
We both go. The race for us runs a little bit through the number 7 Set for Life with Valion. Rodriguez gets the call with this one. Just improvement off of that layoff.
A little improvement. The blinkers went on. Maybe that was a big key. And Irish Indigo, who was scratched out of this race today for Perkins, was a horse I was definitely going to use 1-2. He comes out. He comes out of that race. I believe it was a triple key at Monmouth. Wild and Crazy Night out of that race to beat Set for Life next time out. Good number, 66 buyer for Wild and Crazy Night. It was 1-5 that day. And also in that race, the 3rd place finisher, Hawkston, was a Cal Lynch horse that ran well in debut. So the horses work for Set for Life. This horse was caught wide, made a steady progression up at the 3/16 fold, chased behind some horses. A little green past the 8th fold, but churned on willingly. Unless one of these firsters jump up and get you, Set for Life, I think, is going to be right into the race early. Maybe Jerry's out. We'll go ahead and show some speed. This 5 horse going to go first blinkers on the dirt for Rudy Robb. Set for Life, I think, can prompt and go on with it. A shorter price, certainly now with these couple scratches. Probably going to be in that 8-5 range. I looked at some other handicapping tools, and this numbers come up strong for Set for Life. Yes.
There we go. Anything to just comment on Wicked Divine there on the outside for Kenny Cox? Blinkers on, outside post might help out a little bit here today.
Yeah. Broken, bumped, inside empty. The short comment there for us. Lil Sebastian ran well. That was a good run by Lil Sebastian. That blinkers going on, made a little bit of a run, but the key for me was this horse took sneaky play. Was $6.80 to the dollar. That's a lot of play for a Kenny Cox firster. I know it was only a 7-horse field. These horses don't get a ton of play. This horse took play. Looked okay, comes back. Toledo is back. We'll talk about him a little bit later in the show. Yeah, I think there's going to be some improvement second time out.
Okay, there we go. 7-9-8-6 there for race number 4 with Keith Fusel. Race number 5, we start the late pick 5 here. And, of course, that pool tends to attract a lot here. Starts in this claiming 20,000, going short on the turf. Second wire finish here for the 3-year-olds and up scratch. In the 6, Athletic Star, the 14, J.R. Jonesy. Elusive Image does run. We don't have the update on the other also eligibles in the 15 and 16. I'm guessing they will be scratches, though.
I think they have been.
They have been? Okay.
I think, yep.
Okay, yep, just got confirmed. Thank you, Keith. But let's talk about corrected pedigree on the inside there for Gina Perry and Gene Avello coming back from that Penn National effort. A lot to like here.
Yeah, another one, 13 tries, trying to get through this 2-in-life condition, but it's been pretty consistent. And you got to look for something. You got to hang around with something there that says, okay, I can trust this guy a little bit. There's plenty of speed in here. Gamber Forte, El Divino Nino, Quick, Laddie Dance, Gonna Rock and Roll, Battlefield Park went out, shortening up last time. I think this pace is going to be really, really honest, and I like this inside draw. We saw Gina Perry get it done with Tall Order the other day. She ran 1st and 3rd, right? Sue Loves Barbados ran 3rd.
Yes.
Similar kind of trip, a little extra ground here from that Penn National try. Yeah, and just slide into that spot mid-turn and take it from there. Alvello looking for some other closers as well. Similar trips. Your top selection I like as well, going for a little bit better value.
I thought I was going to be
can definitely see it. Yeah, that certainly works. Hasn't seen the turf since July. Nielsen fast, Ride Diggity Dog came out. Yeah, similar running styles. Win no choke. I think they're going to be close to each other around the turn. There's not much separating them through that opening, say 3/8 of a mile. So if they break cleanly, they should be close. Upside Down Man, the other Troy Singh horse, bigger price. Going to give them one more shot just because of the setup. I keep watching, going back and watching that race at Pimlico, that run that day back in May was good. It just hasn't come back to it. This is the last shot for Upside Down, man.
Okay.
I'm done with you if you don't get it done today.
Okay.
And Surprise Hello, another horse we discussed, Dave and I upstairs. You've got 12-1 Maldonado for Diana McClure. This horse has got some serious numbers for this group on the turf, sprinting. He's quick. Yes, he's going to have to deal with some other horses. I think he can prompt and stay if needed at a good number in race number 5. 1-3-8-7. Interesting we land on the top two together.
I love your 7, though, because Diane, she takes this one, and we're coming almost, we're just near a year layoff. This is a turf horse. They've waited, they took their time and they waited with this one to bring this one in late turf season. So for me, that says a lot. 1-3-8-7 for Keith Fustel there. We will be right back after this commercial break here to talk about the rest of Thursday's card. Welcome back here to race number 6. Not only does it kick off the jackpot super high 5, it also kicks off Keith Fustel's late pick 4 ticket. Gave us a little bit of a curveball there from your usual.
We got to work some new mojo here. We got to kind of change it up a little bit. $18. So we're not breaking you. I mean, we're not going to take you to the cleaners here. 2-8 to get you started in race number 6. Feeling so lucky. Susan's Mule, interesting. We'll talk about both of those here in a second. Race 7, 3 deep with the 2, 6, and 7. Fair plays here. We got a stat for that one as well as a video. Race 8, 1, 3, and 4. Salty little sprint here. 2 other than going 3/4. Scratch the 7 Pro Occident, who was going to take some play. We're gonna talk about that one. That's a really good race. And race number 9, wrap it up. Competitive field here. 1 1/8 for the turf. I'm going to go 1 El Delary for the Paddock Pastor for an $18 late pick 4 ticket.
There you go. There we go. Keith Fustel always giving you the most fun sequences of the day here thus far.
The one that I think I got a chance on, but man, they've been few and far between. But stay with us. We're okay.
It's all right. You deliver for the most part. Let's talk about this dirt affair here, claiming $30,000 for the 3-year-olds and up, which have never won 3 for these girls, going 3/4 of a mile on the dirt. Scratches in the 1, 4, and 6. Keith, you go with the number 2. Let's go ahead and take a look why, because I do as well.
Yes.
Feeling so lucky. Of course, red hot Eubanks Barn with Tori Alba.
Just a banner year for the barn. You got to love it. Coming off the win with Brilliant Ice, Bandcamp, a huge second. Feeling so lucky. We liked this one last time out. On the turn back, you got 3-1. I think we're going to get an okay price today. And Taraba just measured that speed, and when it go around the turn, it was a zippy little move from the 3/8 to the 1/4. It kind of lulled a little bit, and then once he got into him and asked him, he just kind of kicks away with this filly. This filly is in very good form right now. And again, tricky little race from a speed standpoint. Love to Eat, I think, is going to go ahead and go. I think Susan's Mule is cute. So feeling so lucky, I think she's going to have enough of a target. And the way she's sustaining runs, these numbers just keep going up, up, and up. The last couple of years, she's 3 for 8, I think 8 for 8 in the money with horses that have 3 ascending buyer figures. Works for me. Yes, feeling so lucky, 6-1. I'll take that kind of number. I think that's you should kind of demand maybe with the scratch no less than 4. We got a couple scratches in here. The 8 Susan's Mule is interesting to me. She's numbers just average, and all of a sudden she jumps up and runs a 70. She jumps up again and runs an 80. Beats good. Stick with the colors. She came back to Kilo Road is quick. Little hiccup at Delaware, but she can be excused to a point for that. She took play. Irish Maxima, stakes type, right? Golden Tabby, killer. Deeds of Love. That's a 2 other than. Now she's coming back into this condition race. Now, is she going to revert back to that prior form where she's a mid-50? I'll take one shot because looking at the flow, she is the fastest early. If Love to Eat is hell-bent to get the lead, I think she can sit. But, man, she's a little bit of a guess for me. I don't really completely
100%.
Trust her, but I can't leave her out. Looking for that speed type and the closer type in race 6. We'll work around them. We're going to toss in the 10, I'm a Cutie Pie. She's just consistent over this racetrack, and the 11, Conquest Dancer.
There we go. 2, 8, 10, 11. Keith Fustel, race number 6. Race number 7, we're back on the turf going a mile here in this claiming $30,000, which have never won 2 for the girls 3 and up. Scratch in the 11. Guy for the win. You go with the number 2. And let's go ahead and take a look at that effort, not only with the 2, but the 6 as well. Fair Plaisir, Whispering Sea from that effort back on the 7th of September.
Yeah, Fair Plaisir had the overland trip, 4 to 5 wide. You're going to see this. This was first time blinkers off in a while. Started his career back in January 24 without the blinkers. Wore them a couple times, took them off, and this horse was able to sustain a run. Now, Whispering Sea, also in this race with the red cap for the Live Oak Plantation, didn't have the easiest trips as well. Was paused around the 5/16 pole, if I'm not mistaken, then worked inside just to flatten the touch. We're going a mile here today, so we're shortening up. Again, maybe a little bit more tactical as Trombetta's horse. An interesting run here between Fair Plaisir and Whispering Sea. I think both are going to be right around your exactas. Here's the stat. Last 2 years on Delacour, we talk about recency here at the meet. Very good. 5 for 17, 29%, 10 for 17 the money. With the turf routers, third off of this type of layoff. Positive ROI of 222. They're not going to be big prices, Fair Plaisir and Whispering Sea, but I think they're logical. I think their consistency helps, and I think they can, turning back, they're going to have a sharper punch from the quarter pole home than what you maybe saw at a mile and an eighth.
Absolutely, and we're going to be getting different trips as well. Utah, that Michael Sanchez, he's going to definitely take that horse on the outside trip. The number 7 that you have underneath Sky Victory, Brittany and Sheldon Russell, can't count them out from that Colonial effort. Very strong from Colonial back to Laurel for the Russells.
There's another third off of a break, improving figure. I do think the Colonial buyer speed figures have been a little bit high.
Okay.
I always kind of subtract a couple.
Yeah.
Like it just seems like they, anywhere I go, they just
they're
a little quick to me.
It depends on the race as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Overall, I think.
But I think this horse third off of a break, Mama's Leno Whispering Sea out of that race was just too late to the party. First time back, third time could be the charm off the break for Brittany Russell. It's interesting how this filly had speed on the main track. She's kind of just completely verted tactics on the turf going along. She just kind of takes back, settles, and makes that one run. It's probably going to work, I think, in her favor today to get a piece of it, if not win it.
Absolutely. And then to wrap things up, Incisive Kitten, first time against winners for Trombe and Victor Carrasco.
That's always a positive for me. If you can win from this 10 post, 10 out of 10 last time, the first time blinkers, improvement. There was a little bit of a wake-up. There was a sustain and some grittiness late.
Yeah.
Good post position in here. Forward enough. In a race, again, when you're looking at the flow, not really a slew. So I think Incisive Kitten could be put forward into this race, possibly helping the chances or setting things up for Whispering Sea. But these 4 are really tough for me to split.
There we go. 2, 6, 7, 3 there for Keith Fusel in race number 7. Race number 8, we're back on the dirt here in this allowance optional 40,000, going at 3/4 of a mile for the 3-year-olds. And up one scratch here, Pro Accident, which you did mention, talking about your late pick 4 ticket, made a bit of an impact here. 6-1 morning line. Take a hint. Gary Cap, Jamie Rodriguez scratched out of the Maryland Million Turf Sprint on Saturday. Runs here today.
Yeah, I think this is the right spot, and maybe they're wrangling. Well, I don't know, but take a hint. Yes. Third off of a break, and he's been very good. 33% with this kind of move to 60, 180 days. Has done really the best work going longer sprints, and maybe not so much, but take a hint is quick. You look at the horses he's run against. No Easy Day, Spike Zone. We've mentioned him on the show a couple times. The Nest runner, super fast. He's won a ton of races this year. Just be aggressive. J-Rod, I think he's going to take that tactic. He's the fastest horse in here if he just wants to go.
Right.
Let's go. Let's kind of secure the inside. We got to play a little cat and mouse, guide out top of the stretch like he likes to kind of take that inside and come out a couple paths top of the lane if somebody's going to hound him. Use that today, and it might work for Take a Hint because it's going to be coming. Circle P, Play Like a Raven, they can make a move, and Circle P has kind of found his niche here sprinting. We've got video of this one, September the 27th. That was a sloppy sealed track, a little bounce around at the break for this Flint Stites trainee, kind of pinballed around in between horses. They went quick, 22 flat, 45 and 2. Bick. How about Bick this day?
Right.
I didn't see this one coming.
Neither did I.
It broke a little slow to Bick. He's rushing up in the green and gold and just kept on going. But Circle P goes ahead and makes this move. 3 wide, shifts out 5 wide, and works in between horses, top of the stretch, to continue on willingly to gain some ground this final 16th of a mile. Yeah, back to a fast track. Lay closer to a slower flow, 2 back. I think this flow's going to be a little bit quicker today. That should help his chances, and it should help the chances of Play Like a Raven, who couldn't quite make an impact on Circle P 2 races back.
Right.
Very good in the slop in the 7/8 where he got that. If he gets that quicker, 22 and change, 45 and 446, that'll definitely help the chances of play like a Raven. Raven's playing well right now.
Really quick before you put those away, John the Bear.
Oh, yeah, John the Bear. How about that number? A couple of races back, 14-1 in this 2 other than condition, fresh into touch. He's quick. He used to be very, very fast. I didn't see that race coming a couple of races back.
Yeah.
So if a hiccup out of the gate for taking him, John the Bear can prompt, and he's shown he can keep going. Yes, underneath it at a big, big number, your exacta tries and supers, because I think you'll get double digits, close to a 10, 12. Yeah.
Absolutely. 4138 Keith Fustel, race number 8, and in our finale here on the Laurel lawn is going to be a Claiming 30,000, which have never won 3, going a mile. And in 8th, as you mentioned, on the turf, scratching the 5 General's Duty, the 9 Margie's Fun Son. Keith, you go with the rail horse El Delary, Antonio Machado. Tori Alba comes from a win on and off track last time out, returns back to the turf today.
Yeah, it comes back shorter notice, a couple of weeks. But I tell you, this guy, we're going to show this video with Tori Alba, mind you, on August the 16th. So JG is back this afternoon. Today's race is at condition, 3 in life or 3-year-olds. This guy's won 5, taking advantage of that condition because he's 3. Look at this run into Wish Me Home. Wish Me Home, we talked about before. I think he's been competitive 2 other than Allowance. So
Yes.
left lead running, but this guy, he's not the biggest horse. Look at him. He looks, compared to the horse at the outside.
He's scrappy.
Man, he is scrappy, and he's got heart. And
Yep.
he's grinding it out. A 1.125 suits him certainly against this group. Rojo Redemption going to be forward. I think Fair-Haired Boy was interesting. Had to weave through a lot of traffic. We needed him last time. Stretching back out, though, he's got races on his page that work. For Ness, he's forward along with Missionaire. Enough speed.
Yep.
El Delary to make that run. The Paddock Pastor for sure to make the run. Pretty consistent. A little flattened last time. They're going to have to time that rally just right, but I think it's going to work for that one. You've got the 2. I like this.
do.
Talk about Jack Fisher owes me no money.
No, and that's
yeah.
kind of the whole point. He doesn't really owe a lot of better gamblers in Maryland on the flat for anything. Just really, it's the pattern change, Keith. And when you get a horse that gets a pattern change like that, they get confident, and you can just really build off of that. So that's immediately what I see. And I said this horse is going to still move forward off of that. You can just trust what Jack is going to be putting out there when he brings him onto the track. So third off of the layoff, 7 for 21 as of late. Can't hurt either as well, but I loved, it wasn't, like I said, it's more of a mentality thing. I look for these horses that are just going to move forward mentally, and Rojo Redemption just fits the spot right there, depending on what kind of value you get.
Got that little interesting run at Colonial, first time back, little test drive, right?
Yep.
Got it back on the front end. Interesting, I thought Boyce might stay. Goes to Breakwater here.
Yep.
He's closing up. That was kind of the only little
No,
question
and
mark. But I tell you,
I get it.
he went, look at those internal. 48 picked it up to 24, 12 1, another 24. Clipped them off. And
Right.
this horse held firm. I remember that day. I mean, he was determined. Nobody was going by him. So, and I don't think he necessarily needs to lead if a horse like Fair-Haired Boy or Missionaire want to go ahead and go
And so
take
in
the
lieu
initiative.
of Forrest not being on, I like Toledo for the spot
Yeah,
for this
it works for
particular
him, yeah.
individual. It fits well. It's crazy that both of us, neither of us have the 6 in our picks at all. But talking about the number 4, the Paddock Pastor, Brittany Sheldon, this one coming back off of an okay trip.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be interesting how this one kind of comes back off of that trip.
I mean, kind of a bold move wide into that quicker flow. Just
Okay,
didn't
yep.
sustain. I thought he would sustain a little bit better, but I think he's okay here at a 1.125 in Breakwater. Yes, 2 back try, was favored over the Paddock Pastor, did have traffic. Didn't quite kick on. I still think has to improve a little bit.
Okay.
I kind of have faith in this one. He's gonna have to be 1-2 for me.
Got it.
El Delary. He's gonna be my key.
There we go. 1, 4, 7 at 10 for Keith Fustel. We could dive into that. We could have kept diving into that, but that's quite a finale that we have here. Let's talk about your value play in race number 2. Starts the early pick 4 with a 10-1 shot for Ricky Silliman Barbosa on the rail in foolproof.
Yeah, Geron stays. That's a key for me. Protected a little bit late. He's quick. Burned up in a 22-2 opening quarter with a host of horses kind of hounding him outside. The outer horses kept on going in that race. if he's intent on the lead and he can clear into the turn, I think he takes him further. He'll give you a little thrill here at 10-1 morning line.
And then you kind of bookend a little bit. Race number 9 is your best bet there. El Delary, you just talked about him with Machado. Torrealba getting back in the saddle might be a big benefactor
Not
there.
the biggest guy, but he's 1.5.
Yeah.
Okay, he's got heart. He runs on his left lead. Yeah, he doesn't look like the smoothest, but you know what? He tries. Yeah. Proven against much better on the turf, comes back to this condition race, and the distance certainly should suit him today.
Absolutely. We're going to roll back to Maryland Million again. We're going to talk about how Toledo, congratulations to Toledo, and he ties Edgar Prado for the most Maryland Million wins. So just a couple of, there's 2 races that are elusive to him. The distaff and then a starter handicap for the Phillies. So he's been very close, but he ties for 18 overall Maryland Million wins with Edgar Prado. And this is kind of, he's very much in the peak of his career.
Yeah.
It's an elongated peak, and it's going to be an elongated peak. So even more to come from Toledo. Very, very exciting.
He's trusted by a lot of big outfits.
Yeah.
You know, winning outfits certainly helps any jockey. But you know, he's ridden for some, you know, under the radar types, lower profile, you would say, trainers, and done well. He'll get your price. He'll sneak up, you know, for a trainer. You're like, okay, he's riding. Pay attention when he goes to places like that.
Just wrapping it up, Toledo owns multiple wins in the starter and a couple of starter handicaps, 4 wins, 2 turf wins. Excuse me, the distaff is, I was mistaken. Distaff's starter handicap is the only one. He has won two distaffs, turf sprint twice, turf starter handicap twice, and single wins in the classic, the ladies, Lassie Nursery sprint, and the turf distaff starter handicap. So we will leave it off at that. We will head on over to Dave Rodman for some more changes and scratches here.
Simply put, he's won a lot of Maryland Million races. Let's
18
go
of
to
them.
Dave Rodman. Good luck, everybody.